Hello, friends and listeners. You have a brand new episode of Watch Skip Plus. We want to be your go-to source for insightful and pop-cultured movie reviews. My name is Cupcake, also known as Jose. I think I flipped that around. I'm joined by my co-host, Mike, also known as the Wildebeest. If you have not noticed from the tag already, this is the spoilered movie discussion of Sam Raimi's Send Help, starring Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. So if you have not seen the film, warning, spoilers ahead. You should probably turn this off. Go jump into our 2026 spoiler-free playlist, and then you can check that out as well as other movies. Again, we made it so easy. We split them off. There's a spoilered playlist and then a spoiler-free playlist. This is absolutely brand new for 2026. So we hope you like this particular feature. Mike, how are you doing?
Doing great. Doing wonderful.
Still in that Sundance cocoon.
Yep.
Last dance. Last dance.
It very much is. It is the last dance. It's been
it's so
bittersweet.
Sad.
Bittersweet.
This has been a fixture of your life,
yeah,
right? You live in Utah. This is your jam.
More than half my life. Yeah, 24th year. So yeah, it's sad, but we'll find things. I've got plans. I might be looking to you, Austin, Texas. I might be heading your way.
Fantastic Fest.
For Fantastic Fest next year. So 2027. So like in a
maybe
year and
I
a
will
half.
join you.
We
That
should.
might be fun.
At
Now,
least
where's
a
Sundance
weekend.
moving?
Sundance is moving to Boulder, but the rumor is we're still going to continue to be the biggest online festival. So I'll still be able to do that, and we'll still be able to have watch parties. And it's going to be sad because there's just a big group of us that get together every year. I met somebody this year that's been doing it since 1985.
Oh,
and they remember all the ways, and they've talked to Robert Redford themselves and sat next to famous people all the time at small screenings up in Park City. So
how far is Boulder from? It's a different state.
Boulder
Sorry.
It's 40 minutes away from Denver. So the same Salt Lake to Park City is 35 minutes. It's going to be a same drive. I heard that they might still do an annex in Denver like they do in Salt Lake, where they'll have some screenings. That hasn't been confirmed. I don't know if I'll do it this next year because I'm kind of bitter about it. I don't know. We'll see. But I think I'll just save my money and do Fantastic Fest. At least do a weekend of it. I have friends that go every year. They get a pass. Festivals
crazy.
Can be expensive. But again, you're just putting money towards a nonprofit. So usually.
I still think you should go next year to Sundance and see how it is.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right, so here we go. This is the spoiler discussion for Sam Raimi's Send Help. I mentioned in the spoiler-free review that it sort of became difficult to figure out who to root for, maybe. What are your thoughts on that? Like just the turn of especially McAdams' arc. Like what did you think about her arc?
I like a good dark comedy. I like a good film noir, and you don't always need someone to hang your hat on, but I get it. You want to have something, and what we have is a villain. You have a villain that's worse than her and her idiosyncrasies and lies and the things that she does, because we are painted a nepo baby piece of shit who's going to become a billionaire because of his daddy, who doesn't know what he's doing, who does not care for the people who actually keep the business afloat. He's just your stereotypical douchebag, like the guy who bought the $2 million Wu-Tang album and jacked up the HIV prices to $750.
Jesus Christ. Yes.
HIV meds.
Although
Skrelly.
we should also mention that not only is he like a nepo baby, but this is clearly a stature thing for him, because O'Brien talks about how he wants to play golf, talks about the fact that he was in a frat, and one of his underling marketing guys, who's only been there for 6 months, is a frat brother, and he's going to become VP over Rachel McAdams. 7 years with them. The father had sort of promised that she would become the VP. She knows everything in and out. She knows the numbers. By the way, did you catch the picture of who his dad was?
Bruce.
Campbell. So, folks, if you are a big Sam Raimi stan, obviously Bruce Campbell is in the chin. If chins could kill, Bruce Campbell was in the Evil Dead films. He's done films with Sam Raimi as well, cameos. But there's a big picture of him right over Dylan O'Brien's
Yeah, I was like,
shoulder. I know. I was like, yay. So yeah, I mean, we clearly set that up, and I guess we are fooled in some aspects that she's this nebbish woman living by herself. She dresses horribly. People talk about the fact that like she eats at her desk and she loves tuna. Nobody likes to include her in stuff. Like she's talking about karaoke and almost ready to invite herself, but she's not really part of that conversation.
But they do a good job of humanizing her, right? We find out that she's a widow. We find out that she spends a lot of time on her own learning self, how to stay alive and survival stuff. She reads survival
and
self-help guides. And
because she loves Survivor.
Yeah, Survivor. That's her thing. And that's cool. I mean, I dig that. I like that we get enough about her character that when she does things that you're like, oh, okay, now you really are turning this into misery. Where you're like, okay, who is the bad guy here? Again, it comes down to motivation. It comes down to giving a great screenplay that gives us enough to paint who is the good guy and enough to paint the bad guy. Yes, this is still a dark comedy where dark comedies are a mix of film noir and slapstick usually, where you mix the two together. And yeah, some people don't like a dark comedy. We could talk all about the Barney one that Danny DeVito did with with Ed Norton.
Death to
Smoochie, which I love. But again, they're not for everybody, but this goes beyond being a dark comedy because it's just so damn entertaining. It knows when to amp up the action. It knows when to amp up the comedy. It knows, like, as soon as you're kind of sick and tired of the office aspects, they're put on a plane and you're like, God, I hate these dicks. Boom. Yeah. We have a plane crash that sets everything
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that plane crash. So,
yeah.
O'Brien knows that there's a big merger coming up, and he knows he needs to rely on her to crack these things because his assistant, Dennis Haysbert, by the way, I'm like, Dennis Haysbert, what a great actor. And he literally has a 5-minute role in this. I was like, what? Anyway, but he tells O'Brien that she's a whiz with numbers and she can crack that stuff. And clearly the guys that he knows that he wants to rely on are complete idiots, right? We're treated to the fact that like he takes all the credit for her work. When I say he, by the way, the frat brother is played by Xavier Samuel, who I thought after Eclipse was going to blow up as an American actor, and it just never happened. He's still gorgeous. I love him. And yes, I mean Twilight Eclipse, folks. Okay. So this plane crash, they get on there. She actually finds a way to make the merger happen. Guaranteed. We see this. But as she's typing this up, they are watching her Survivor audition clip, and they are laughing at her, and she gets humiliated. She starts to cry. Those scenes, how did you feel about those bullying scenes? Like, I have to tell you, as somebody who had been bullied, like, and made fun of, and it constantly happens, like, it got to me. It really got to me.
Yeah, it did to me too. And again, it builds the motivation so we know who the bad guy is. And even when we start to feel for him, he still comes out being a slimy dick. And so in the end, we continue to follow Rachel McAdams. She ends up being who we hang our hat on, even though she does some pretty despicable things we'll get into, right?
So the plane crash, right?
Yeah,
like we get people getting sucked out, but the Xavier Samuel ends up literally trying to like steal her chair because he's not in his seat or seat belted. And what ends up happening is that, he's being sucked out basically. And he's literally trying to choke her, and she grabs a fork and she stabs him in the hand, which it's a little shocking considering all the things that we've seen of Rachel McAdams' character, right? And here's where the dark comedy aspect comes in. She stabs him, he gets sucked out, and then you see him hanging on in the window, and he's like, Linda! And then she just kind of like puts the window thing down.
Yes.
And then
so
the plane
funny.
crashes. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So this is the editing thing that I talked about that I thought was maybe a little too on the nose, is after we get the office stuff, we see Rachel McAdams in her home, and we see a close-up of these books that say how to survive on your own, how to hunt, how to do all this stuff, right? And I just was like, oh, come on. You know what I mean? Like, did we really need that close-up? Because later in that scene, she's watching Survivor. She's quoting the theme song. So we know she likes that. We know that she's into survivalism, that she's been watching the show. And then there's a shot where the camera pans across her bookshelf and you see the same books on the shelf that you saw in that earlier close-up. And so I was like, that is studio intervention right there, because they did not need that close-up.
You're so nitpicky, but yes, okay.
I'm very nitpicky, because let me tell you something. I was like, why?
They
We
wanted to
don't
make
need
sure that you understood exactly why she can do some of these kind of superhero type things.
Yes.
So they wanted to make sure you knew that there was no plot holes here. And there really is no plot holes. They do a good job, and maybe to a point too much of a job to make sure there's no plot holes.
Right, exactly. And so with Dylan's character, basically, what ends up happening is he has a severe leg injury. And so Rachel McAdams ends up putting together all these things and hunting. That boar scene was fantastic. I know the boar looked really bad CGI, but let's be honest, some of the plates. So if I'm a credit watcher, and I read that there were plates that were shot in Thailand, and then they just superimposed them where they were filming, because I think they filmed in like Hawaii and Thailand for that matter. But some of the background scapes you could see were wonky CGI. So there's a little bit of a tete-a-tete between the two of them where she's kind of like, ha, I'm the alpha here and you're not. And he ends up apologizing to her because obviously he has no choice. He's an idiot. He doesn't know what to do. And so this is where it starts to get, a little dragging on, because what we then see is we see them being friends and this and that or whatever. So what happens is she teaches him all this survivalist stuff. And she also says, hey, stay away from this part of the island because it's got really bad poisonous thorns. Not so much, we find out later. But anyway, so he ends up finding out that she's allergic to these berries, and he puts it in the jam and he cooks her a dinner, and then he tries to escape on a raft. What did you think about that whole scene?
I loved everything about it, because you see her when she goes to scare him off, she grabs that berry and smushes over her hand and shows it all getting all red. She's like, this is why you don't eat that. She's like, you can test that stuff. And so seeing that all come to play, and then it goes back to him like using that to poison her. It's great, man. It's so perfectly scripted. Like, we could sit here and talk about Raimi, but Shannon and Swift wrote the hell out of all these little details.
And what's kind of crazy is that they really don't waffle on the fact that O'Brien really is kind of a jerk, because what happens is
there's no doubt.
What happens is he gets on his raft, right? But he's not even smart enough. She's like, oh, the double floor lash. I didn't teach you that, right? And his raft breaks apart and he comes back. And then what is interesting about Adams's reaction to this in one of the most harrowing scenes in the film is, so she feeds him octopus. By the way, I love roasted octopus. It is fucking delicious. I will eat that all day if I could. But she gets him back from the raft. She feeds him the octopus stuff, but it has a neurotoxin.
It's a blue ring.
So he gets like frozen, right? He doesn't even know that. And ostensibly what she does is she basically says, I'm going to neuter you. I'm going to castrate you. I'm going to cut your balls off, and I'm going to teach you a lesson. And there's this whole scene where he's doing it.
It's hard candy. It's hard candy.
I know. It's like hard candy. Exactly. But there's all this, and even blood shoots up onto his face. He's freaking
He's all
out.
crying.
And then it turns out she's just cutting a rat up, and she's just teaching him a lesson, right? So we're like, okay, she's not horrible. She's not cutting his balls up, but she just wanted to be like, look, I can do this to you. How dare you? But she's not all sugar and spice, because then what we realize later is that she sees a boat and she doesn't tell Dylan O'Brien because she likes being alone. She likes being the alpha here. She likes the one that he turns to, right? So she's enjoying the fact that even though she didn't get where she was supposed to, by all of that hard work and dedication, she can do it here.
Yeah.
And additionally, what we discover later is that she follows the boat and there's actually a residence on that side of the fucking island, and she keeps it a secret.
Big twist.
That's where the mango has come from. That's where the sushi has come from. That's where the knife comes from. I mean, Scooter and I were like, when she says, "Oh, it's funny what washes up on shore," it's like, it's a fucking metal knife that's going to sink right to the fucking bottom of the ocean. It's not going to wash up. And I should also mention that, like, while she's taking him on a tour, she almost falls off a fucking cliff, but he saves her. Now, he is a complete asshole, and he does save her because he knows he needs her.
He needs her. And then he does, then he could say, now we're equal. You know, I owed you one, or whatever he says.
Exactly. Right.
It's all about the tit for tat, and it's all about the power. It's the whole entire movie is this power struggle. And
it's the power struggle.
He humiliates her about the tuna thing in the face. And so she's like, okay, I'm going to one up your humiliation with the testicle chopping off scene. And it's just like, they're just like humiliating each other and putting each other down. It's this game. It's so perfectly scripted. Again, you can rewatch Misery and see how they do very similar things. But in this, it is just, I'd say it's better than Misery. It's better than a lot of these type of films where somebody's trapped against their will and trying to get away, because they just are. The way that everything is pieced together, it comes almost like a puzzle. And the way that you are saying, oh, okay, this piece is coming here. And like you said, I was like, she's really good at making sushi, but what? This is really weird. But it all makes so much fucking sense in the end.
So what ends up happening is that part of the island that she tells him to stay away from is where that house is.
Yeah.
The house has like supplies, it has food, it has water. And so we're treated to this montage scene of her like at the house and like doing all this, which makes you think about
the house from Primate. It looks just like the house from Primate.
I was just about to say it looks like the house from Primate. I was like, where's the pool? Where's the monkey? Right. But it makes you think about that scene where she's in the fountain and she's like loving herself or whatever. That scene, I understand that it serves a purpose, but I was like, okay, that's a titillating scene. Who is that for? But Shannon and Swift balance it, because then she gets to oogle Dylan O'Brien naked, washing himself. So I was like, okay, I see what you're doing, Shannon and Swift.
And she definitely was oogling it. She was like,
I was too. I was like, back to the anus wrapper, please. But so as if all of what McAdams does kind of makes you think, I don't know if I should be backing this, you know, what I thought was a female empowerment kind of thing going on, because she's doing some questionable stuff.
Let's get to
Later in the film, the fiance shows up.
Yep.
And then she's like, oh, hi. That's such a great, to see her play that scene is like, amazing.
Her face, she's like, oh, fuck, what do I do?
And she's so stuck in her habit that she's like taking the mango, and the guy is like, we have food. And she's like, no, I'll take the mango. And he's like, oh, you must love mangoes or whatever. But then she kills them by making them go off the raggedy
cliff that she slipped off of.
Oh my God. And then the horrible scene of like the hand, and Dylan O'Brien's like, no.
I know. She sees the
It's so
and then
crazy.
She takes the ring and she swallows it like, oh yeah, fuck you.
And she's like, it's in there. Oh my freaking God. So after she pushes two people and kills them, I was like, all right, now I don't know that I can back that move, right?
Yeah, it's like film noir 101. It's just a dark turn, but we've had enough to still show that she's still our protagonist. She's still the hero, even though she just killed somebody, and Dylan didn't.
I love that Shannon and Swift are also wink, wink, nudge, nudge enough where after all of that happens, there is this scene where it's like a long shot of the beach and he's here and she's here. And I leaned over to Scott and I was like, welcome to Act 3, folks. And boy, is Act 3 a doozy, because they end up, basically like fighting each other. And there's like that great scene where he walks into the room and there's that thing with the horns, the mask or whatever, and we're kind of like, why? And then she looks over and it's missing the horn. I was like, oh no! Yeah, it's, oh man, so well written.
So
it's
good.
Great. But you say, let's talk about that ending. So he horns her. She has a rifle. He grabs the rifle. It's not loaded because she doesn't know guns. Okay. She may know survival, but she doesn't know guns. And then what I think is so ironic and a wonderful turnaround, she grabs a golf club and she's like, "Whatcha for?" And then it cuts to her and she's all dolled up, looking like Lindsay Lohan, post-rehab, post-marriage, post-baby, like golfing or whatever, right? And it's, she's become the CEO of that company and she's all successful or whatever. It turns out that she wrote a book about it. Everybody loves her. They're like, we adore you. You're a survivalist. So clearly she has spun this whole story. Nobody will go to the island to figure out what happened because she says she built a raft, and got off the island. But then there is that scene. So she's driving away. We've got blondies one way or another. And it's very like American Gigolo. She's got the top down. She's smiling. She's got her parrot. But then she looks right at the camera and she has this like, don't fuck with me stare. Right? Or almost like looking at the audience and being like, if you tell somebody, I will golf club your fucking head off, right? What did you think of that ending?
It was great. She became the beast. She became that which she, in
fact, become
she
the
became
beast.
that with which she disposed of.
Yeah. Which I don't know how I feel about that message, but really, this is an absurdist thriller, an allegory or the hyper like realistic kind of commentary on gender politics and office politics, right? So I don't think the message is women should be cutthroat, but it is, I think, very awesome that her character prevails and that she in some ways, lives with her demons, because something that happens with the fireside chat where we find out that she had an abusive husband. He struck her and did, something that crossed the line. And before, she would hide his keys so that he wouldn't drive drunk. And she confesses to him. Meanwhile, they're drunk, right? Because she makes toilet wine for them. And she basically hands her husband the keys and is like, fine, you're on your own. And then he dies. And so as all of these things are happening, we're like, oh my God, is she darker than we actually thought? Did she kill her husband? Did she, do all these things? But in that conversation, O'Brien has never addressed his demons. He talks about his bad upbringing, but he has only ever taken that and become a douchebag and a horrible person for everybody. Yeah. Right? So I think if there's a redemption scale, it tips in McAdams's favor, but let's be clear, they're doing really shitty things to each other.
It's survival of the fittest, and she's the fittest, and she's the one that does that came up on top. And what happens when you come up on top? Power, ego, money. She's going to become just as bad as O'Brien was. So I love that. It is, but it is. It's the cycle. Everyone's like, oh, I hope this person, this political, person gets killed, or I hope this person ends. Well, what happens is someone just as bad is going to take over. You're not going to destroy the capitalism, and that is because survival of the fittest, and that truly does show that we are animals. The corporate world is like our freaking forest
dog eat dog.
Yeah, we're dog eat dogging out there, and it really is kind of like the proof that we are just out here to destroy one another, and that is the capitalist way, because that is the animalistic way. And that's
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. Like, how many times have we seen somebody who, talks the talk, diversity, helping, equality, they get into the position of power, and then suddenly they're doing the exact opposite of what they were saying they were, championing, and now they're working against those values that they said they wanted to do and change the systems. This is very relevant to now, especially to now. So great work, everybody. More movies like this, please. I hope this makes Shannon and Swift the pair to... I want to see them take on a drama now. I want to see them do another horror film. I love those guys so much. Any other thoughts? Did we miss anything? I will say, when she was poisoned and she's trying to revive him and she's consistently vomiting on him, I think she vomits on him like 6 times. I was like, okay, because comedy, 3s, right? And then she vomits more than 3 times on him, and I was like, kudos for breaking the triad rule.
It definitely was like an homage to Drag Me to Hell. There's a lot of like oozing out of mouths and that as well.
Yeah. Woof. Woof. Anyway, any other further thoughts? Yeah, this is a must-see film. We loved it. Shannon Swift. Sam Raimi, please. No more of that Marvel shit, please. No more superheroes. Just do what you do. Honey,
even if you're just watching this to spoil yourself, still go out and see the movie. Go on Tuesday even, grab $6 and go on a Tuesday. Just go see this. Like, even if you're spoiling yourself right now, but this needs to make as much money as possible so Raimi can continue to make fun stuff, whether it's producing or directing. So, and we have another Evil Dead movie coming out this year too.
I know. I'm excited.
Directed by him, but again,
not directed by Raimi, but EP'd. I think his production house is called... Is it Ghost House? Maybe. Ghost House. Yeah. Love that. We are adjourning our spoiler discussion of Send Help. If you love us, you'll certainly love our Podfathers, The Gentleman's Guide to Midnight Cinema and Not a Bomb. Also, these other podcasts, the OGs, Night of the Living Podcast, Wild Dream Podcast, Death by DVD, Raiders of the Podcast, Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zoe, our YouTube brothers, The Two Johns, and now for something a little bit different, Caliber 9 from Outer Space, Feminine Critique, Talk Without Rhythm with Garo. Remember, leave comments, email us. That's in the description. We've also put links in our description on YouTube for our different playlists. Please subscribe, share us. If you want to support the podcast, that is the best way to do it. You can subscribe and you can share. Please do so. We want to build this community. And again, splitting this off, spoiler-free and spoilered, again, we want to make it easy for you guys to be able to revisit this, or even if something hits streaming, because I'm sure Primate's going to hit streaming soon, you can listen to that, watch the movie, come back. So anyway, any other further parting thoughts, Mike?
Nope. Just as always, get out there to the theater. Please watch as much theater as you can, or whether it's film, theater, music, whatever. Get out there with people. Go to our brothers, listen to them. Raiders, I see you guys. There was a few movies that I recommended for Tyler. There's a lot of Tylerific movies. The Rocky Joint, as well as Big Girls Don't Cry and Night Nurse.
Pony Boy.
Yeah, they're reviewing Pony Boy, which was a Sundance flick a couple years back. So good.
Dylan O'Brien.
Yeah. Excited.
All right. And as always, folks, other than getting the globes out, be kind, be open, be vulnerable. That's where the art is. And we'll see you next week. What are we reviewing next week? I think we talked about it being Besson's Dracula. I don't know if there's anything else big coming out besides that. I have been hearing since last year about how awful that movie is. Caleb, listen, one of my future husbands is Caleb Landry Jones, so I am ready for Dracula. Yeah. All right. Have a good one. I got to finish this editing, and we have a basketball game. So
enjoy.
All right. Enjoy the last day of Sundance. I can tell you're a little tired, though, like your eyes.
I know. Look at them. I've been getting like 4 to 6 hours of sleep or less every night.
All right. Thanks. Enjoy. Be safe.
All right. See ya. Bye.